those guys have always been good characters, man.
Yeah.
Just down to earth, man.
Yes.
Bubba especially, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, brother.
For the most part, I think most of the members in reality are. You know, I feel I'm pretty, down to earth, and I'm like you said, I'm not on social media. And,
Are you really down to earth? Explain to me how his car stood in the side of the driveway for all those years and what motivated him to fix it.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
His
I mean,
car was in the paint shop.
Yeah.
My nephew, he lived with him and my wife. I guess they were talking to him. I went to work. One day I came home, and my wife, she jumped on my ass. She says, okay, you got that car back. You're not happy. It's been sitting there for 2 years. Do something with it or sell it.
What's happening, everybody? I am Joe Ray, and we are on the Wired Down Show. It's all about lowriders, you know that. I'm going to have a car club, a few gentlemen here that have been around their car club, represented it for what it is and a special name. They're going to introduce themselves right now, but I personally happen to think that when you all have going back 5-6 decades and you come up with a name for a car club, there's not too many names you can imagine out there anymore. They've all been taken, but there's a few of them out there that just kick ass when you call out their names or whatever it may be. Their logos, the whole thing, it's the meaning behind it and why they call it that. And I'm going to harp on that today with these guys. These gentlemen are from the car club known as Reality. And especially in today's times, it's the truth. Reality. It is what it is. With everything that goes out there in social media, it's comfortable for me to look back at a name and a logo like that says Reality. And Reality is about lowriding. It goes hand in hand. Go ahead and introduce yourselves to the general lowriding public. You first.
I'm Andy Rivera.
Tony Nuñez.
And Tony, how long have you guys been around the Reality Car Club? Out of Baldwin Park, we could do the math. 1979 was a long time ago.
I joined in 81.
Okay.
I've been around that long. Yeah.
I joined in 1996, 97. No, wrong.
Something like that?
No, sorry, wrong date. 92. 92.
And 92.
Yeah.
Where all those years go by, right? 10 years is like nothing, especially when you're involved in all this. You guys are originated in Baldwin Park, the beautiful city of Baldwin Park, which isn't too far here from the studio. What was the culture back then? I mean, you guys were from that area, went to school in that area because you guys were all friends. That's what the car club started from, right? Tell me the story. Tell us the story.
1979, the two brothers, James and John Rodriguez, they started the club. Like you said, we're all friends, high school. Then in Baldwin Park, had two different high schools. You had Baldwin Park High School, you had Sierra Vista High School. But everybody knew each other. So when they got out, they liked the lowrider scene. So they started getting into it. So it started off with him, well, the two brothers and a few other friends, about 10 other friends. And they started building their cars. Next thing you know, they decided we're going to establish a club. And they got down on the ground, drew it out in dirt, Reality Car Club. And then 2 years later, after I graduated and I got my car, I joined. Yeah.
And a lot of people join car clubs, well, because location or somebody's always important, but you go by the name. Is that an interesting name? Is that an attractive name to use? Is that something that will fly in the back window? Oh, it's the wrong colors. They're green. It's like the Eagles. I don't want to wear green or it's black and gold like everybody else. You guys went with the blue. And a lot of guys, depending on the attitudes and how you run a club, and then they get employed by the club, they join and all that. What's that? How did your club grow from those early days? I'm sure the name had a lot to do with it.
The name had a lot to do with it, and just the culture. The culture, we wanted something different. We wanted to be, try and get people away from the gang life. And that was one of our rules. When you join the club, you're going to have friends that belong to gangs. I had friends that belonged to gangs. But you never wanted to bring that around the club. You didn't want to get your club marked as being from a certain gang or a certain area, just for the fact that, you put money into your cars. I don't want to see a brick come flying through my window, or somebody bumper jacket for that reason. So it became that kind of culture where you want to do family stuff, bunch of friends, and not have to worry about looking over your shoulder. That was one of the main reasons they did it too, was, get together, go have picnics at the park, you know. Bad enough the cops would look at us funny because we have our cars all lined up and they have to cruise through and make sure, everybody's drinking apple juice, so.
But how many car clubs out there when they first started, especially back in those times, where a lot of us would say, well, you can't join the club, you have to be 18 years old, you can't be from a gang. And they were from a gang still, or kind of phasing out or getting jumped out or whatever it may have been. Gangs, there's really no difference from the early days of low riding. You were on four wheels. Gangs, it's a macho thing. You're protecting your life with a name that or an area where you're from. When you get into low riding, there's a little bit more responsibility. It's just not a car payment. You're responsible, of course, from everybody there. But now you have something to lose besides a name and a neighborhood. You have something you worked hard for, to get. And it's a good way, because I had a lot of guys in my car club that just say, you know what, Joe, if I didn't join back in those days, I wouldn't be here. I'd have got killed. I would have killed or been killed, or I'd be in jail. And now look where I'm at today, because probably a car payment, I guess, or whatever, but it's always good. Well, I became a cop, I became a lawyer, and I did that, and it's because of the club. And Destiny, going back these 47 years, you guys have stories like that too, right? I mean, you have role models within the club, doctors, nurses, all of that stuff, right? Not nurses. You don't allow women in your club.
No.
But you have those who have become mentors, not just for the club, for society itself. Any guys like that?
Well, a lot of blue collar guys.
Yeah.
We have welders in the club. Tony's a lab tech in the club.
A lab tech?
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked in the rubber industry for 30 years now as a manager, chemist.
Okay.
All that.
Yeah. So we have blue collar guys that we instill in the younger guys that, you want to do something with it. Well, when Tony went to school, actually, he was trying to go to school, take care of his family, try to make the club meetings.
Yeah.
Well, finally, Aaron, my brother-in-law, Garcia, pulled him aside and tells him, hey, you go to school. Club's going to be here. Take a leave, go to school, do your thing. Get your degree. And he was like, well, I got to be here. No, you got to take care of your family. So took a leave, went to school, got his degree. And we're all proud of him for that.
And there's only a few that do that, I know Spanx Imperials, he was told that by Jesse, what you need to do is go to college, and and he became principal, and he moved himself up, and now he dresses very nice and he speaks really good. And yeah, the club will always be here for you. He went back and now look what he has, and he handles all those responsibilities pretty well. But that's mentorship, right? When somebody can step out. If somebody told me, hey, you need to go to college now, you need to go do this, I said, fuck no, I'm coming to the mobile lot every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I ain't going to school again,
And we drive by and see
to
you
each
guys.
his own, right?
Yeah.
What influenced you guys back then? What was the culture back then in Baldwin Park? We're in Covina now.
Yeah.
So it's maybe about 3, 4, 5 miles
down the road.
Yeah, west, right?
Well, for me, like, I was raised in the 70s. Well, I had friends that were older. That Jesse had a 70, Chuck had a 56. No, yeah. John Avalos had a 56. And these guys would cruise around 560s with Kragers. And I always liked that. I always liked that. And I was like, wow. When I get older, I'm going to get one of those. I'm going to get a Lowrider. So once I graduated from school, my dad bought my Chevelle. 65 Chevelle. Normally, you see those, it's a hot rod. Got a big motor in it, made to go fast. Said, no, I'm taking this one a different way. So when I built it, I think I was one of the first Chevelles out there. And everybody's like, why did you build that? Because it's different. But that's where mine came from. And then, like you were saying, back then, there was 4 clubs running around Baldwin Park back in the 70s, like 79 to 80, you know. So run around the streets out there, drive to Whittier, drive by you guys, hit the Boulevard. You
I
know.
thought you were going to say drive by us and hit the switches. Hey,
Yeah.
or scrape on us, right? You know, now that you bring that up, my uncle had one in that coffee like light brown.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful car.
It's like a
For some
mocha
reason
color.
or other, everybody loves that style. It's a mellow style on those cars, but I don't know why, looking back, they weren't as popular. Maybe the 67, 68s,
Mm-hmm.
the way they changed the Malibus then,
Yeah, that.
or the Chevelles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe everybody jumped into that and then just forgot about the good times. But I think your car, that to me, that's a staple, that design of what Chevrolet is. I like them. I've always liked those cars.
Yep.
You have the mural on the back trunk
Oh
and
yeah.
everything, right?
Yep. I
And you
actually
still
use
have it to
Oh
this
yeah.
day.
Yeah, I have that to this
That's
day.
awesome when you can have your
Yeah.
same cars from way back in the
Yeah.
days.
Well, we built that. It has a lot of family ties to it. My dad bought it for me. Then my brother Gary, me and him rebuilt the motor. So that got done. So it has a lot of ties to it. Bubba put the hydraulics in it. He cut it.
You can't sell that car, can you?
No.
No, because of all of that.
Yep.
It's not how much you paid for this or that or that. It's everybody that offered
Mm-hmm.
and jumped in there and helped you make it what it
Mhm.
is, that you can never repay them.
Oh yeah.
So
Yes.
you keep that car.
And that's
in
one
their
thing about being
memory.
with the club too, like you're saying. Somebody comes up with their cars. Hey, I need help with this. I need help with that. All right, I'll be over there this Saturday. Let's get some beers. Let's work on it. You know, when my nephew Daniel did his 68 Impala, we got out of the shop in May. That one year he came to me and says, hey, I want to take it to Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara then was always a car show done in June.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, well, we're going to have to jump on it every weekend and after work. All right. But I want to put hydraulics in it too.
That was a nightlife car show up there?
Yep. Nightlife car show. Danny Trejo's club. Yep. Shout out to Danny. What's up? But
He'll be here. You don't have to shout that much. He'll be here in a couple more episodes. Just the atmosphere to take lowriders out there by the beach is
it was
cool,
great.
right?
Oh,
Instead
it
of a
was great.
surfboard. No, and it's a good little area, the atmosphere and everything there. How long were you guys going to that show? We went once, maybe twice, always talked about going back, never did again. And those are the things you miss out on.
Oh, we did it 14 years?
Yeah, right. I drove out there every year.
But your car club is more streetwise, right?
Yeah.
More than shows. Yeah, I don't need a trophy. We just need to get out there and feel what low riding is about. Get behind the wheel and let's go.
Drive them.
Shows going 35, 40 miles an hour. So, but before we even get too far, Tony, how did you get ruined? What was your influence back then?
It first started in high school. Went to a LA Super Show, and I walk in. There was 2 morning cars on turntables, same generation as mine. And my morning car was sitting in the garage from 1980. It belonged to my brother. He passed away. So when I saw those 2 morning cars at the Super Show, I was like, I have one of those cars, and they're on turntables. Most beautiful thing I had ever seen. 14, go home and ask my mom, can I have the Monte Carlo? I want to fix it. She goes, sure, but where you get the money? I'll go get a job. Went at 15, got a job at a KFC, worked about a year, got the car running, high school, and that's when in 17 was when I met Anthony from the car club, current president of Reality. Took me in, took me to a meeting, I did all my stuff to get in. A year later, mom passed away. So that's when Andy said about Bubba. He said, go home, take care of everything. You have the house to worry about. Come back when you're done. And that's what I did. I disappeared for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And got married and,
Came back.
Yeah.
When you go through some hard times though, and both of you have been around, sometimes you need to fall back on your fellow club members because they've probably gone through the same thing sometimes or will. And, everybody throws advice at us. We don't normally take it, but it helps us to try to recover. When you lose somebody, it hurts a lot in the beginning. It hurts forever, but not as much. But these little things, that you can relate to somebody. You don't have to ask them for advice. You could just be with them there. A couple kind words and They're always there for you. And that's what car clubs are about.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the
So the
brotherhood.
culture in the car clubs out that way, Baldwin Park, what other car clubs were out there? Even you're not too far from El Monte.
No.
So what were the names of the car clubs back then? Are they still around?
Oh yeah. Well, we had in Baldwin Park alone, we had Techniques, we had Epics, we had
Yep.
Nightlife. That was a different club from the
Royal
Santa Barbara
Image.
Club. Royal Image was out there. You know, what was it? Brown Pride or Brown Persuasion, something like that was in El Monte.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and another one, United, was running around.
Amigos were there.
Amigos was
good
there
old
too.
Mike. We just had a story
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of car clubs back in the day running the San Gabriel Valley area.
So how did you get the name Reality out there? Besides the posters for the dances, handing out flyers on Whittier Boulevard to promote your name, to get it out there. This is before social media.
Oh yeah.
Hammer tacking posters on the telephone poles. You don't even see
Mhm.
telephone poles anymore.
Nope.
Besides doing that, how did you guys get your name out there? Events, charity events.
We would do
or the-
fundraisers with the high schools.
within the
You
community.
know, within the community, we do toy drives.
Uh-huh.
You know, just to help. We have a good friend of ours from the club. His wife worked with the women's shelter, so it started with her helping them get toys for the kids that were in there. Then all of a sudden, it's like, hey, one of our other members, Carlos, he worked for LA County, the hospital. So he's like, hey, you know, they can use some toys too. All right. Well, then all of a sudden, it became from helping one charity, we did 3 charities for all our toy drives. And then we'd even go to the sheriff's department, and what they like to get were the stuffed animals. Because that way, you know, sometimes they got to go to places where there's a child involved. This way they give them a stuffed animal, make them feel a little secure. But then, yeah, but we do that. Then, like I said, high schools, sometimes coaches would come to us, hey, can you help us do a car show for our football team, for our wrestling team, our basketball team, you know, whatever.
To help them buy
Equipment,
shoulder pads,
weights,
uniforms, all that.
anything they
Yeah,
could
it
do,
goes a long. I'm
Oh,
going to
yeah.
tell you right now, that goes a long, long ways.
Yeah.
When you need a little bit of bad luck, you don't have to ask for it. It's going to always be for some
Yeah.
reason. Yeah. I have kids. You can go anywhere. Kids now that are in their 30s and 40s will come up and just say, thanks to your car club, man, I got a uniform, and I'll
Mhm.
never forget that. And today, you remember some school teachers, but then you remember through some hard times who paid for something like this. We had a guest on here not too long ago, got a scholarship through Lowrider magazine, helped pay for his books, and now today he makes molds. He's building all kinds of things, not just car accessories,
Mhm.
things for your heart and stuff like that. But because of the scholarship or somebody had donated something within a community, man, they live and die with that the rest of their lives. It's a,
Oh yeah,
it's a
it's the
great
little
thing.
things that people appreciate. Just knowing that, hey, like a couple of years later, after a car show, some kids will come up, or like you said, our teacher, hey, thank you for your help. You know, for what you did, helped us do this, helped us buy, like we helped the wrestling team one year. They bought brand new wrestling mats because the school couldn't afford them.
And they redid the whole wrestling room as well.
They did the
But
wrestling.
it only helps. It improves the respect all lowriders get to theirs because you do events like this. I know when you do your annual show, and we've gone there only one time, damn it, and they get on me for that. That was an opportunity. We didn't care, oh, how big is the trophy going to be? How many trophies? What's this? It was a good cause. And you guys were doing a good cause because it relates and reflects on all of us. For you guys to do that, it's like we should be doing the same goddamn thing. The least we can do is go and support them because it makes low riding look that much better, right? And you got to thank your lucky stars up above sometimes. But you guys are well known. There's social media today. Reality is a big word for me because it's the truth. Never forget who you are. I mean, it is what it is when it comes to reality. Back when I was an editor, in another job, I asked Jay Bueno, freelance photographer, to go out and cover you guys because I felt back then that you guys were just a humble car club, did enough to get your name out there, but didn't brag or didn't just raise your hand and, hey, how about us? Or when you going to cover, when you going to do this for us or that? And you guys have always been that way, humble, before I even got my job. So I signed him to go and do a story on your history back then. And it was great. And then from there on, you guys didn't get big headed. You stayed just even keel all the way, minding your own business. And you're not going to be the ones like on social media today. Look at us. Or we're at a funeral, but our car was there. That's when someone passes away and it's like a big old thing. Everybody's doing videos on the procession. It's not about that. Rest in peace, whoever that person was, we're there for their memory, not because your car is candy red. But that's the way things are today with social media and everything that goes out there. Everybody's a movie star. Look at me. And, they're on FaceTime and everything. Through all of that, you guys have stuck to their name, reality. It's real. Lowriding's real. It's a struggle. I like everybody when I ask somebody, hey, man, living the life or it's a struggle. It is. And I think it's a perfect name, like I said before the show, reality. Yeah, you've gone through your times and there's been ups and downs for your car club, like all car clubs, but you're one chapter.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you didn't need no help by getting other chapters out there to create more problems. How did the club take off from there? You had large numbers and then it slowed down a little bit. And it's nothing to be embarrassed about. We've all gone through it. Tell me about some of those times.
Well, when I first joined, like I said, back in 81, we were about 40 deep by the time I got it. Well, different conflicts, different people, different ideas. That's where nightlife started. The one that was from San Gabriel Valley. That was like half our club. They decided, you know what, we're going to do our own thing. All right, cool, no hard feelings. We just don't believe in some of your rules and stuff for whatever reason it may be. So that happened. And then in the 90s, it happened again. We lost a few members. We got down to 5 members. That's when Robert Zamora was president. So we had a meeting at his house, the guys that were left. And he's like, okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to fold or do we want to keep going? I said, well, I didn't build my car to fold and I'm not flying another flag. And he goes, okay. My nephew Daniel at the time, he had a bicycle. He goes, I'm going to build a lowrider bike. And then a couple other guys that were there were like, okay, we're staying. All right, then let's do it this way then. We got 5 cars. Let's make them look the baddest ass that we can. So when we go to car shows, they're going to see, like you're saying, they see our name come in, reality come in. It's all about shit. They're here. We better clean our cars
5
up.
cars look like 30 cars if they're badass cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then people got just your reputation coming in. They know your name. They know what you're bringing to the game. And people say, well, yeah, but some of your cars are street cars. Yeah, but go look at them. The white walls are done white.
How do you think we got here?
Yep. The white walls are done white.
Yeah.
Cars are clean. No water spots. Windows are done. Plaques are clean. Nice little setup outside. And people will walk by and they'll always stare at them. That's what my wife loves about going to car shows. She goes, I love just to sit here and watch people walk by our cars. And like, wow, they just awe at them.
And there's no way of telling when you walk by any car if it's well kept in a garage or it's an enclosed trailer to get here. You expect them all to look like that. And there's guys that, from the streets to the shows, they got their damage. Gravel, whatever it is, you overwax it, you're cutting through or you scratch the paint. And you look at that and you go, well, it shouldn't be a show. I think, the street thing, driving your car and enjoying the best of both worlds, people don't realize that sometimes. Unless you put a sign out there, driven daily or whatever it may be.
Oh, yeah. We went to, Tony's car. Tony will always drive with me. He's got full undercarriage. We go to, like we said, we drive to Santa Barbara or San Diego and start talking to guys and they're like, hey, I forgot I was talking to one of the gentlemen. I think he was from Elite. He has the purple station wagon. Tells me, hey, I was sitting there talking and bullshitting, having a beer with him. And he's like, oh, all right, show's over. We got to go break down. He goes, all right, man. He goes, where's your trailer at? I said, what trailer? And he lives out here in the Pomona area. He goes, you didn't trailer it? I said, no. The Monte Carlo didn't trailer? I said, no. We drove him. But the Monte Carlo's up on jack stands. He's got full undercarriage. He gets home, he cleans it. We drive him. We enjoy driving him.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow. And so a lot of people they're astonished that, well, you're going to get door dings. You're not door dings, you're going to get chips. Well, yeah, that's going to happen driving it. But you got touch-up paint. You make it look, you go back, you touch up your little dings here and there. Or as I call them, battle scars from just driving them.
Yeah. And you get battle scars without driving them if you have a undercarriage.
Yep.
You dust it one weekend, the next weekend you got to go back under there again, and you got to keep your fingers crossed your chrome lasts that long.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But to go out there and drive, I did that one time. Somebody went back and forth, scraped. I went back out in Hollywood. Well, my
Mhm.
car was Hollywood at that time, and I had it all painted and chromed undercarriage. And I went down the street, and here comes this bird. I don't know
Oh,
what,
yeah.
72, 73 bird laying out all over. We're all hanging out, and I caught up to him, and I just went side by side and just bam, right? I destroyed my whole undercarriage. So I knew my days at the show, it was over after I did that. Even the guys that helped me,
Mhm.
chrome and paint, looked at me like, you know what you just did? I go, yeah, but it was worth it.
It was fun. you
Yeah,
know?
it was. But I ain't gonna re-chrome it and fix it. Hell no.
Mhm.
Might enough clean them right today.
Yeah.
And everything's so much more expensive, it doesn't even last.
Yeah.
Your car club going up and down the peaks and the valleys. We did. We went down to 12 members, and I thought that there might be, it would come to an end because when low riding was around back then, it was a thing out of high school, or if you weren't married yet by 21, 22, it was a good way to go out there. It was like nightclubbing, you were low
Mhm.
riding. There were women in the picture. You would see them, or they would see you because they were attracted to the car. And it was an easy way to find the next girlfriend or the next wife, right?
Yeah.
Because they were attracted to the car. And that goes for everybody out there. If you don't have a lowrider, but you got a Porsche and a Corvette, tell me you're not
It's-
trying to get a little bit of attention out there.
Oh, yeah.
So, and things, well, they've changed now. But for your car club, going maybe too far off the subject, what type of cars did you guys allow to join your club? You obviously got in at 17. There was
Yeah.
no rule to be 18 by then, or you
No.
lied?
No.
No?
If you
Okay.
had a car, and
Yeah.
basically when you got in the club back then, you had to have a clean paint job,
Yeah.
clean interior, rims. The hydraulics and undercarriage could come later, but you had to be clean enough to hit the streets. You had to earn that plaque. You couldn't have primered spots or, oh, I'm missing this. I can run a plaque. No, everything had to be ready. When you got your plaque, you knew you earned it. You weren't just joining the club and then go, here you go, here's a plaque. No, you had to earn it.
What type of vehicles were allowed?
We allowed bombs, mini trucks, cars, up all the way up to present, whatever the date was by then, say the 80s. Only thing we didn't allow were 4-door Cadillacs and 4-door Impalas. Back in the day, it was like,
Two doors.
if you could have an Impala, go get a 2-door.
Right.
That was just one of the rules that was, instilled when the club was started.
But you're going back to Baldwin Park. If there's not enough G bodies out there, they all come
there-
from that area.
There were no
There's
G-bodies
4-door
at the time.
caddies.
We
Yeah,
didn't-
there's 4-door caddies.
But then there were 2-doors out there too. You just
Yeah.
had to go find them.
And the Lincolns too,
Yeah, the
right?
Lincolns too.
That's
Yeah.
good though. And you've kept that all the way through one club, one chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Going through the peaks and valleys, yeah, we went through that. Like I said, what kept us alive were the mini trucks.
Oh yeah, I think
Because
that,
they
and,
were all over. I've mentioned that thousands of
Mhm.
times. People don't think that I give them credit, but it kept the whole thing alive until Lowrider magazine came back into the picture, started doing the shows, and there was a Japanese market.
Mhm.
The value of the cars came up. It became commercialized, rap videos, and it just blew up from there. There are guys today that build cars, turn around and flip them,
Mhm.
but it keeps us alive. Your car club being around 47 years has kept things alive, not just within, but that everybody out there feels comfortable. I remember that club, they're still around. Well, we're still around too, and that's good. So they understand the struggle, the
Mhm.
reality of low riding. Do you guys still have a lot of original members that are still from the club, still come around once in a while,
Oh, yeah.
still have their cars?
We have 4 or 5 that still come around, and 3 of them still have their cars, or they're building another car. We have one guy who's building a '68 convertible. It's not ready yet, but he's building it. But then, yeah, there's like the president. He's one of the originals still. The vice president is, Then there's me, Tony. But yeah, we
Mhm.
still have cars. We still come around.
Tony, what are you as far as being in the club? Just a member, or you're an officer? Or you
Neither.
used to be an officer?
Used to be an officer. Yeah, I was a
Treasurer.
treasurer.
Mhm.
Yeah, back when I
And you
was
still have the same Monte Carlo,
same Monte Carlo.
and you still have your,
Yes.
Same Chevelle.
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that.
No.
No.
And when you want to go into club history and everything like that, the cars are right there in the garage where they're on the streets to get to see that.
Mhm.
You were a spokesman. I was in car committee, and then I stepped up a notch. I became spokesman, and I love that job because it's almost like being present. You get all the noticias from everybody, comes
Mm-hmm.
around, and all the gossip comes to the spokesman. And then you look at it and you can pass it on to the other officer, the president. Well, this is what's wrong. They won't tell you. They're either afraid or they respect your office too much
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to be a bad seed, right? They don't also want to be the teacher's pet. So they come to the spokesman. All clubs should have somebody there that's there as an advisor that's been around the club for a long time, that's earned their dues, right? Um, I think that office is almost as close as you can get to being president because you know a lot more than what the president knows. And how long have you been spokesman?
Oh shoot, they gave me that over 10 years. Because,
Wow.
but like I said, when we got down to 5 members, we did away with the officers.
Yeah.
We said, okay, we don't have enough people for officers, but we still need a treasurer. We still need a secretary. But the president and vice president, no, we're going to go off committee. But then saying, well, we need to, who's going to speak for the club? And that's when they go, you are. Why me? Because you always talk.
Yep.
You talk to everybody. Well, okay.
You have been talking a lot here. Give Tony a chance. No, actually, I have been. What brought you guys back? What made the comeback when you go down that little valley and you got to peak again? What brought it all back for you guys?
We just didn't want to leave the scene.
Mm.
You know, we are our names out there. People know us. Yeah, our numbers went down, but we're still here. Like we said, we got down to 5 cars, but everywhere we went, people know us. And then after that, you start gaining people again. Like you said, they know the name, they see the history, they see the cars. Then they come and meet you. Then you introduce them to the other club members. You know, if they got a girlfriend or wife, you introduce her to the wives of the girlfriend. And they see it's more like a family atmosphere. We're not like, okay, they're gonna sit by themselves, they're gonna sit by. No. We'll go get one canopy, everybody sits together, we bring food together. You know, you want to make them feel as comfortable as you can. Like you're around your family. Which
Right.
a car club, you know, is, you know. You have things done, there's always wives are there, kids are there, you know, grandkids are there now. But
You're bringing up this subject when I was touching back on the peaks and the valleys, even for our
Mhm.
club, down to 12 members, the mini truck saved it. But back at those times, if you were already 24, 25, you were like kind of too old in the game. I would look across the street at Jesse from the Imperials, and I knew he was around 30, 31, 32.
Mhm.
And I go, what is he doing? I If I make it to 27, I won't be here that long. I'm out of here because it was like a graduation from high school, but not going to college, low riders and driving around. People used to say, well, the hot rod guys do it and they're all in their 50s and 60s. Why can we not? Well, it was easier to stay because of everything that you invested to.
Mhm.
You'd see your own club members and all the things they went through. You got to know their families, from baptismals, weddings, quinceañeras, and then you're burying their parents. And it becomes more than just a family, more than just a plaque in the window. So you wind up staying there for 3, 4 decades, like you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made this all a culture today. But the thing that really bothered me the most is not sitting behind that office back then, is getting you guys the exposure that you really deserve, because in today's society, and not just in a low riding culture, if you don't go out there and give yourself your own little brownies and pat yourself on the back and grab everybody's attention, you'll never get it. You'll never get your dues. When you go up that ladder, you almost have to climb and step on somebody else's hands to get there to the top to be recognized. Sometimes nice guys do finish last, but there are certain individuals that, in all reality, see you guys there just playing the role as an example for all car clubs out there, without boasting or bragging or no damn egos on social. Look at my car. Look, I went here. I drove here. I did this. I've been small. None of that from you guys. And it puts everybody in a perspective when you take a step back, because everybody needs humble pie. And I thought you guys always deserved more credit. But if you don't complain or you don't get online and I'm next, it ain't going to happen.
Mhm.
And that's why I admire you guys, and you really stuck behind the name and you're true to it, the definition. And that's a beautiful thing. How do you guys, how do you go from what is low riding now to both of you compared to back then when you had the road work and all the dirty work and all the building peaks and valleys to get to where it's at today? Because it's like on automatic now. The name's been around for almost 5 decades, right? And that's easy now. You don't have to really do too much. Get more recognition, yes, but stay mentors like you guys are. Back then, all that road work till now, we're on easy street. Give me a comparison of what it was like then and what low riding is today.
Today now, to me, low riding now is like there's different factions of it, you might say. You got your hoppers, you got your three-wheelers, you got different ways of going. And I hear this out there, like you're saying, being club spokesman. People are, well, if you ain't hopping, you're not a low rider. You ain't three-wheeling, you're not a low rider. You're not this, you're not that. No, they're kind of missing, like you're saying. They got to take a step back and look. Low riding's a culture. Started with your cars, family, friends. And no matter what you like doing, you're still a low rider. So don't harp on one, because like me, I don't hop my car. Okay. But I like watching them hop. I have nothing against hoppers. I got good friends that are hoppers, But like other towns are like, oh, well, you ain't hopping, you can't be here and stuff. It's like, nah, this is a lowrider, event. Everybody has a lowrider is invited. Be a bomb, be a Cadillac, Monte Carlo, whatever, G-body. Everybody's invited. That's like when we used to do our shows. We invited hot rods. You're part of a car culture.
For the
Bring
love
it.
of all cars, right?
Yeah, for everything. Cars, bikes, bicycles. It's good to see the little kids getting in there, because then they learn. They learned about cleaning their car and taking care of it, their bikes or whatever, pedal cars, whatever. But that's where I see it at right now, is like, there's a lot of different factions in it. And just like you said, everybody's got to take a step back and remember where it all started. Like the guys before me who started it with the Kragers, and putting cement blocks in their trunks to lower their cars, or sandbags. That's where it would originate. Just being out there, cruising the boulevard, hanging out, partying. Like now, yeah, the partying's still there, but then like, oh, well, if you're not hopping, you can't park over here. You can't do this. But like I said, I ain't got nothing against. It's just everybody's invited. You got a lowrider, bring it. Have a good time.
Earlier in this story, we did mention gangs, Tony.
Yeah.
And the gangs on wheels, the lowriders and all that, things have changed over all these decades. It's a lot easier for the car clubs now. It's all automatic, because our kids become involved, either get a bike or they get a car, and our grandkids are in there. And next thing you know, it's family. And then you do outings, picnics, anniversaries, and the club all of a sudden from 20, 30, 40 members is actually 200 when you gather everybody together. That has changed. Did you guys ever have a bike club?
No.
No, huh?
No. Well, see, for me, it's always been like the club's always been my family, pretty much, because I don't have close family. But I know for sure I always call Anthony, any of the club members I need help, call them. As when I finally had a son, as he's growing up, I told him the club's kind of your family. They're your uncles, especially Andy. And Andy's had to talk to my son a couple of times about how he's acting. I would take him at his, and my son, as when he was turned 5, I got him a little Schwinn, a Pixie. Me and him fixed it. We painted it, and he was going to shows. He was getting trophies, but like Andy says, it's never been about the trophies. I learned that first thing from Bobby and Andy and Anthony. It's not about the trophies. It's about hanging out together, going to shows together, hanging out after car club meetings, doing a barbecue. So that's how they raised me, I can say, because I was a younger member. So when my time came with my son, I, tell him this is how the club is. It's not about trophies, but he was getting trophies. Fast forward, my niece, she sees me working on a bike with them. I get her a Pixie. We paint it, we fix it together. Santa Barbara shows, first time the bike show together, and I see my son walking back with a little bit of an disappointment because he didn't get a trophy. But I see my niece carrying her trophy, and I was like, oh no, I can't have that. That's not what we're here for. But before I get to him, Uncle Andy got to him and had a little talk with them. I was like, okay, Andy got him. So
Yeah.
that's what it's about, family when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I think the presidents of all car clubs, if it's a successful car club, they're assholes, right? But spokesmen, other officers, especially spokesmen, you're almost like a shepherd. That's what your job really is. And it's fun. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? You don't make any enemies. You just try to advise and help through all your experiences. That's
Well,
a good thing.
yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like when we, like you're saying, when we came out of the 5-person, we got up to, like I said, when we get a dozen members, we're gonna go back to officers. So naturally, we got our dozen members, our 13 members, had voting. They voted in the officers, and everybody's like, "Oh, are you president?" And I'm like, "No, I'm club spokesman." They're like, well, you were I did run the club for 5 years while it was down. You know, when our numbers were down. Me and my nephew, we take care of planning car shows, events, whatever. Tony handled the money, you know, did all that. And I said, okay, well, I'm done now. I get to sit back and relax. And now I just got to talk. I'm good with that.
Would you say, Tony, you have the nicest car in the club? One of
No,
them, top one?
Back in the day.
back in the day, it's an older build
You're
now.
still treasurer today?
No.
Oh, well, back in the day, you were treasurer. You had the nicest car.
No.
I hope the spokesman was watching that.
Oh, yeah.
No.
If you guys had anything to do, if you could go back and change anything, what would it be, Tony? And I'm going to say we can go back into the logo and the fonts itself and the design, the colors that you guys wear, blue and blue. Would you change anything? Because we're always constantly modifying or setting new trends. Would there be anything that you would change?
I really liked the design. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, the way they made it, the design, the way the letters curve, you just can't go and make that
No,
one
no,
way.
no, no.
It's unique. It's reality.
Anything else though? Going back all those 40 something years that you would change, or if you had a chance to do it all over again,
Oh,
would it stay the same, or what would you like to see done?
I like the way the club's been since I got in. I mean, it wasn't when I got in. It was only 10 members, I believe. With Bubba, Andy, Anthony, Albert. Back in the day, I remember when I was in high school and bought Laura magazine, and Albert 62 was on it. And before I got into the club, mind you, I had Lowriders on my wall, and I met Anthony, who brought me around, and I'd see Albert pull up in his 62, and I was like, oh wow. I was like, just starstruck because, one of the cars I saw on the wall, I'm like talking
looking
to
at
him, meeting him, and since they were all older than me, they were all mentors to me as well. Give me advice on how to do. Bubba's was the biggest influencer for me as it was.
To Bubba and Albert, the fireman. He went to Halloween one time dressed as a fireman. That's how he got his name. But those guys have always been good characters, man. That
Yeah.
just down to earth, man.
Yes.
Bubba especially,
Yeah.
rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, brother.
For the most part, I think most of the members in reality are, I feel I'm pretty, down to earth, and I'm, like you said, I'm not on social media. And
Are you really down to earth? Explain to me how his car stood in the side of the driveway for all those years and what motivated him to fix it.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
His
I mean,
car was in the paint shop.
Yeah.
My nephew, he lived with me. Him and my wife. I guess they were talking to him. I went to work. One day I came home, and my wife, she jumped on my ass. She says, okay, you got that car back. You're not happy. It's been sitting there for 2 years. Do something with it or sell it. Mind you, I had sent it to the paint shop just to get some touch-ups done, and the guy was supposed to paint my motor compartment. So we pulled everything out of it. Came back because the guy lost the shop. So I was lucky to get my car back. They dropped it off. It looked like a theft recovery. So I said, okay, I got to find a paint shop. My nephew Daniel and my wife were like, we got one already. The guy already came and looked at the car. We just have to pick the color. I said, wait a minute, when? They said, oh, he came when you were at work. We already got a price, just pick a color. So I went with the sour apple green with the gold pearl. It was either that or the tangerine color. So I think after all these years, I think I made the right decision going with the sour apple green. So that's where that went. Then Ray was the painter's name.
Ray, yeah,
Dynamic Auto Body.
Diamante Auto Body and
Diamante,
Alvani.
yeah.
My car was in first, I believe.
His was first. Then mine went in, and then Anthony, our president, had a '70 Chevelle that went in. He painted 3 cars for the club. Mind you, these were all painted like in 95, 96, and they still holding paint.
Yeah.
They're still good jobs.
They didn't take that long to paint.
Mine
that
took
way-
His
5
took
years.
longer. His
almost
took
3 years.
His took a
2
year
years.
to come out after mine.
Yeah.
But both of us had gone there to look at the cars one day. Me and my nephew went there to go look at Tony's car one day, and the guy, he was color sanding it. Oh yeah, he put water on it so we could see the color and everything. And he's like, oh, so I called Tony up when I got home, no cell phones yet. And I tell him, hey, he's color sanding your car. It's coming out badass. So the next day he went over to go look at it. It's all primered again. He goes, hey, I thought you said yeah, me and Daniel seen it. It was painted already.
Some primer again.
He goes, he didn't like the way it was coming out, so he stripped it down again and primered it.
Yeah.
Then I painted mine, and he went and looked at mine. He called me up and he goes, you did not pick that color, did you? I said, why? What's wrong with it? He goes, it's a pastel lime green. What are you doing? I said, what do you mean?
Spalding?
Goes, it wasn't, what do you call it? Spalding green?
Spalding green.
Dennis Ball Spalding green. But he hadn't put the clear or the pearl on it yet.
Yeah, it makes it jump.
Oh,
out.
once he did that,
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah.
And that color, I think that color right there since '96 has made my car stand out.
Yeah. That same question, if you had a chance to do it all over again, would you change anything?
Probably not, because if I did, it probably wouldn't have the same effect. I maybe would have gotten out of low riding, For a while there, I think when I first moved to Pomona, I wasn't really coming around the club because I was working, got my house going. And then Robert Zamora, the old president, and Bubba called me, hey, there's another Chevelle getting in the club, and he thinks his car's the shit. I'm like, oh, really? When's the next meeting? They said Sunday. I'll be there. So that weekend I got out. I still had the hydraulics and everything. My car was just parked in the garage, dirty. I had it a cadet blue then. Pulled it out, washed it, polished it, charged everything up. I went to the meeting. I drove right by it. Just like you said, I went right on the side of that guy and I dropped it front, back, side to side. Then I went out and said, who owns this piece of shit? Guy's name is Frank. He's a real good friend now.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, that's mine. And like, oh shit. And then Bubba. And I just around that time, I had just lost my mom. So I didn't really want to do anything, be away from everybody. So Zamora tells me, time for you to come back. Time for you to come back to the family. All right, I think it is. So I started hanging around again, and it went off from there. But yeah, like you said, the guys in the club make the club. They make it what it is. They make don't get me wrong. You're always going to have your hard heads, your inner little conflicts, but then you get over them. It's like a family. You get over them. Mm-hmm. You argue with your brother. Me and him have argued a lot, but first thing we do, hey, Tony, what are you doing? Get your ass over here.
Yep.
You can't dwell on 5 minutes of a conversation.
No.
Yeah.
Over 5 months knowing a guy, 5 years or 50 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not worth it for all of a sudden, just something stupid.
Yep.
Tony, who would be your mentor, main influence, or your shout out?
It'd be Andy. Andy and Anthony.
Yeah.
More Andy. I think Andy and I became closer than most of the guys in the club. Andy, Daniel, Gary were the ones how we put my car back together in the end. Anthony helped us with the hydraulic rack, and so. But overall, it's been Andy. I've always looked into mentor / father figure / friend.
Because I'm old.
He said it. I did.
And who would you give shout outs to? Who's your mentor or your main influence out there from way back?
Low riding?
Yeah.
I would say, like I said, Jesse, Chuck, John, Mike, all had low riders on the block. We grew up on a dead end street. So, you walk by them every day.
Mm-hmm.
Then they take you out for a ride in them. Oh, and the first time I got to feel the hydraulic scraping, it was over. I'm going to put those in my car. I'm gonna figure out
Did
how
you
to
help
do it.
them clean the car?
Oh yeah,
Because a lot of us all started there. Oh, the neighbor would let me go with him for a cruise, but
yeah.
I had to clean his white walls and armor all his tires to get in that car.
Yeah.
Same thing then, huh?
Yeah, pretty much that. And then as we got older, like I said, the brothers. Then when I got my car, you know, like I said, first it started with family working on it, and then I joined the club, and then it's like, my wife was a big part of it too. She was around since high school. She was my high school sweetheart. And when I needed a fender for my car, hey, I got to go to the junkyard. I'm going to Pomona Swamp Meet. I'm going at 5 a.m. She'd get up and go with me. Now that the car is done, she goes, no, I'm sleeping in now. I did my job. But yeah, what's good though is like what I like doing, like people told me, well, you've only built one car. I said, no, actually, I've had my hands in several builds. I helped Tony with his, my nephew Daniel with his car. Anybody that needed help back in the day, if it was hydraulics, motor, something, wiring, I'd go over there and help. Tony, one time we had a toy drive. Tony's car, he fried the wiring harness on his car.
Yeah.
Got it towed home, called him up. I said, hey, what? Go buy this gauge wire, go buy this color, go buy this color. He goes, why? I said, I'm going to your house. We're going to fix your wiring. I got it all done, but one wire. One, 3-inch wire.
We couldn't find it.
And then his buddy came over and says, oh, he got it all done. You just forgot to hook this wire right here. He goes, how did you remember that? Just remember.
2 months after it happened, okay, Joe? It happened and we didn't get to work on it until 2 months, and he still remembered where all the wiring went.
So if how could you put it? My greatest appreciation was helping somebody else stay in the circuit.
A car club that builds together stays together. And that's what it's really all about. These stories right here. We all have tricks of the trade that we do. Some of us are electricians, but you got to donate your time to a fellow member that's deserving, that flies your same plaque. You can't be charging them. Why get in a car club? You can't. It's got to be teamwork at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got to be a team player. Before we almost come to a close of this show, to me, the name reality for all of us in lowriding, the reality of being a lowrider, we could be here and do 100 episodes and explain why and what we're about. And a lot of people out there outside our world won't understand until you're involved in it and you invest into it. There is no turning back. That is a reality. What would be, Tony, your advice to everybody out there? What keeps you guys humble? Because we all need humble pie every now and then. We do need to take a perspective. We take things too serious sometimes. We get out there and disrespect each other and pull each other down. And that's not what this is all about. God damn, 30,000 for interior and 40,000 for paint. That's bad enough already.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to everybody out there in lowriding?
To me, build within your means, I guess. What you can afford. But, my car was what I was able to afford back in '98. And it's not about me. It's about the club and the cars. Like, you take me away from the car, it's about the car. It's people say, "Oh, you didn't do this, you did that." No, because I didn't want to do that. Why didn't you put patterns in it? They didn't want patterns. Wanted a straight paint job. So the car just stands out the way it is. And I think I take a lot of joy in watching other people when they walk up to my car, and just the smiles they get, like, oh my gosh, it's green, it's a dark green, and just them talking about it and looking for who's the owner, asking the color, what I did to it, and it's about the cars and the club, for me.
Yeah, sometimes you can put out the right word out there without saying a thing.
Yeah.
And you could lead an example many ways by your car. And for you, Andy, what would be your advice out there for everybody that's either starting a club or is into low riding or going through some hard times? What they have to fall back on? What would be your advice to everybody?
Starting a club, get your members together.
Get lucky.
Yeah, get lucky. Find a good name. Get your members together that you want to start your club with. Lay down some basic guide rules. You know, what you want from your cars, what you want in your cars. You know, if you want everybody like, oh, I want you to extend your A-arms. Well, I don't like driving on extended A-arms. It's going to eat up my tires, you know. Just talk to people that way. Figure out what you guys want. Secondly, just enjoy the life. Enjoy it, you know. And don't come out there, like we said, if you're coming out there just to win trophies, you're never going to enjoy this lifestyle. You know, hit the cruise nights. That's where our name came from. Right, basically, where we got a lot of notoriety: car shows, cruise nights, parties, charity events. If somebody asks you, "Hey, can you do this for us?" Yeah. What weekend? If I'm available, I'll be there. My nephew's a good example of that. We went to lunch or dinner one night, coming back from a cruise night. Lady stopped by, looked at our cars, told my nephew, "Hey, can I rent your car?" He's like, "Yeah. What you need it for?" "I want to just take some pictures for my daughter for her quinceañera." "Yeah, go ahead." You know, so he did. You know, just because you have a nice car, it doesn't mean you have to be an asshole.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, if
There's going to always
are
be
talking to,
competition out there, Andy and Tony. There's going to be competition. Trophies, there's car shows. But the real competition is outside our world. We're, no matter how it is, for my 50 years, we're still trying to get respect and show them. It's not called, it's gaining respect, not just representing, but we're all together in this whole one car club. And that's what the competition thing, no. The thing that hurts us about competition is when we compete against each other for other reasons too.
Oh yeah.
Jealousy and greed. But that pretty much puts this show at ease, and we go from here. We're under construction here still. You guys already got a glimpse of what's coming.
Yeah.
You bring a few more members, we're going to have that kind of room. We'll try not to step on each other's toes, but we'll be at the local bar, which isn't too far from here within the studio. Look at everybody. Another Wired Down show. This car club representing in the city of Baldwin Park since 1979. They're special. They're humble. No egos. They don't need social media. They belong here. They've earned it. But remember, inside that logo is the word real. You have to be real to be a true lowrider. Reality Car Club, 47 years, Baldwin Park, 2 individuals. And remember, every car club out there needs a spokesman, especially the job that you handle right here. This is humble for me and for everybody else out there. Thanks for being here. Another episode of the Wired Down Show. Check us out next Friday. And we'll have, well, when it comes to competition, let's see who can fill in those 2 seats, because you guys did a great job today.
Thank you.
There you go,
Thank you for
everybody.
inviting us.
Have a great weekend.